My name is Taylor Linloff. I am a non-binary femme. My pronouns are they and she interchangeably. And I am from Port Hawkesbury, a very small town in Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia. I am an autistic advocate, as well as mental health advocate and feminist freelancer. A week and 3 days of absolute adrenaline. It was so much fun to do, and I was hoping and praying for 50 people, but we got about 300, almost roughly 95% wearing masks. Great job, people. Next year we're having floats. My gender and sexuality is very much personal to me, but I'm very much out and proud about it. I am a queer, non-binary femme or woman-aligned non-binary person. And to be an out and proud autistic person who is also very out and proud about their LGBTQ identity is extremely important because, unfortunately, due to stigma and stereotypes of autism, we're still often very infantilized. And a lot of people don't think that we're capable of having relationships, getting married, having kids. Note, I'm not having kids. Sorry, Mom. And it's very much a stance to say, hey, we are capable human beings, we are adults, and we're able to make our own decisions about who we are as people. Honestly, positive mental health doesn't actually, for me, mean a lack of mental illness. Because honestly, anxiety is something I've known my entire life. I actually started first experiencing traits of anxiety when I was about 2 or 3 years old. And I grew up knowing that something was different about me. And if I had the chance to know that, hey, you just have a genetic difference of autism and anxiety, I would have grown up thinking that maybe I wasn't weird, which I unfortunately grew up thinking. Positive mental health is inclusion, acceptance, understanding, and doing what is best for you personally. In my case, positive mental health involves going on an antipsychotic for my fixations and severe mood swings. It is going for walks to try and clear my mind. It is being social when sometimes I don't feel like being it. That way I can get the dopamine, serotonin, and other brain chemicals that I really need to function. Silence is what fuels negative mental health because no one wants to hide in those shadows. And if you are out, and honestly, you can be proud to be someone who struggles with mental illness because you're fighting a battle every single day and you're winning, and that's pretty powerful. Some days your victory is doing a pride march, some day your victory is washing your hair and going to pick up the mail. Self-care. Societal victories are just very streamlined. People are not streamlined. Now go to a shoe store, you'll find that out very fast. It was a lot. Unfortunately, a lot of it hindered me for a very long time. I actually didn't get diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder or anxiety until 2018. It was just 2 years ago and a month, honestly. It was June 12th, 2018 that I got my diagnosis. So while I was never diagnosed by a doctor, I was diagnosed by the other kids as weird and an easy target for bullying. And as you can imagine, that is a huge reason that 2 in 5, or roughly 40% of autistic people often have a co-occurring anxiety disorder. In my case, it was a mix of genetic and also trauma, honestly. And growing up as a queer femme just adds into it because at first I was accepted for being gay, but I wasn't accepted for being socially awkward and couldn't fit in with people. But now I've actually had a post go viral, about 100,000 views on Facebook, calling out a certain writer for transphobic and ableist views against autistic people. So I came out and said, like, hey, I'm non-binary, I'm autistic. And it was a flip. People accepted me for being autistic, but I couldn't be non-binary or queer because, again, infantilization is unfortunately very real in the autism community. So it's a very weird juxtaposition to try and experience, unfortunately. And then obviously throw in rural where you don't have a lot of resources due to doctor shortage and / crisis. And it's just a huge mess. I didn't get diagnosed until 2018 because I had a mental health crisis. I wanted a way out, and I was in a rut, and that was the only reason. Like, a lot of autistic women and women-aligned people only get their diagnosis because they're mentally suffering. And that needs to stop. Shout out to my mom for pushing me to get help. I probably wouldn't if it wasn't for her. Hashtag retweet. My documentary is actually going to be named after something my mom said. The title is actually a strong name because whenever I was in severe hardship, like a car accident, my dad's death, she would ask, "Why did I give you that name?" Because it's a strong name for a strong woman. So the title of the documentary is The Strong Name. So the last scene is going to be me asking her, "Why did you give me this name?" So she would say that. Direct action. It's one thing just to talk, but we have to make sure our voices are uplifted, and especially the voices of multiply marginalized and oppressed people. For example, Black autistics are more likely to be diagnosed with oppositional defiant and other behavior-related disorders rather than be diagnosed as autistic. And of course, that feeds into the prison pipeline, which takes away resources and opportunities, which can quite honestly negatively affect mental health due to it. We also have to be willing to not just talk amongst ourselves, but talk to people in charge. We have MLAs and MPs for a reason. It is actually free to write letters to your MP. You don't have to pay for stamps and stuff like that. It is free to send to them. Encourage them to make mental health a priority. When I was in the march, one of the lines I said was actually, LGBTQ activism is grassroots work. You have to keep up the momentum so that it can keep growing upward. You need people who know how to keep it burning. You're not broken? Little tiny Taylor, who's not much shorter than I am now. You are autistic, and you have anxiety. But as much as I hate the autism is your superpower line, it's true. In 2020, beginning of 2020, your father will pass away due to a long battle with cancer. And at the funeral, there will be a little Acadian French lady who will come up to you after all of this and say that she saw you in the newspaper for your autism work, and she will tell you that this was God's calling. And shortly after his death, you're going to really struggle, and you're going to start taking medication as a way to try and cope, and that's nothing wrong with that. And it turns out it was the one that you actually needed. There's nothing wrong with taking an antipsychotic for mood swings and to try and cope with complex grief, or anything else for that matter. You're also queer, and that's a wonderfully good thing. You are a little rainbow firecracker, Taylor Linloff. Shortly after your dad passes away, you will hold the first ever Pride March in Strait area history, and you will have prayed for 50 people. Just to maybe not feel so alone, but God, you have almost 300 show up in support of you and all the other people like you. You're going to be a filmmaker, you're going to be an occupational therapist, and you're going to help people who have struggled like you with mental health and autism. And that's amazing. You're going to do great. Take the Bio 12 in high school if you can. It'll save you the trouble of trying to upgrade courses later on. Save you the trouble, girl. But overall, you're going to be okay, and you are amazing. And you're going to change the world, even though right now you just wanted to change yourself. Don't. I miss you, Dad. Hi, my name is Taylor Linloff, and I'm proud to be me.